Welcome to Pour Painting with Ron. In today's video we're going to be doing another multi-ring pour. Today I'm going to use a bigger canvas than I normally use. I'm using today a Montmartre thin edge canvas, and it's 50 centimeters by 70 centimeters. So I really hope it works today because I'm going to be using heaps of paint. So I'm going to use about 1200 grams of paint today on this canvas. Okay, now what colours am I going to use? Well, I'm using some Montmartre colours and Eraldo colour today, and they're all going to be metallics. I'm using the Montmartre gold and Montmartre silver and Eraldo metallic copper. They should look really awesome together. Now, I don't always use a base colour on my pours, but if I'm doing a multi-ring pour, I normally do put one on there just to help spread everything out and to give some nice lines in between the different rings. So today I'm using black, Montmartre black, as my background colour, and I've mixed that up quite a bit thinner than the colours I'm putting on the top. And my pouring medium today is plain old faithful Floetrol, and I'm not using any silicone or anything like that. Now, the amounts of paints I'm going to use today, each of my colours, the gold, the silver and the copper, I've mixed up about 300 grams or so of mixed paint. So it was about 150 grams of colour and about 150 grams of Floetrol. They'll give or take a little bit to get the right consistency. Then the background colour, the black, I mixed up about 500-600 grams or so of black, and I used about 1 part black to about 1.5 to 2 parts of Floetrol to get my consistency. You'll see the consistency in a little bit. Now the canvas, as usual, I prepared in the usual way. If you've seen my videos before, you know what I do. I put in some of my giant thumbtacks on the back, but they're really good. I get them from my local Officeworks store. And then I use painter's tape on the back. It's really easy to get off when I'm done, and it just gives a nice finish to the back. Now my canvas was a little bit on the loose side, so I just sprayed the back with a little bit of water and blow dried it with the blow dryer just to stretch it out a little bit. Your canvas should have a nice drumming sound to it. If it's too loose, especially if it's a bigger canvas, your paint will pool in the middle. So the tighter your canvas is, if it's a bit of a bigger canvas, the better. All right, so let's get started. Right, so here we are. I've got all my colours mixed up already. These are all metallics, and I've kept them all reasonably thick. I quite like using paints on the thicker side for ring pours. Just stops the colours mixing too much together. Especially the metallics, I like to keep fairly thick. As you can see, if I do the little swirly thing on the top with the paint, the bump stays there for just over 3 seconds or so. So it's a nice thick mix. And I've kept the consistency the same across the 3 colours. The Eraldo paint is a bit thinner than the Montmartre one, so I used a bit less Floetrol in this one than I did in the other 2 to get the same consistency. Now the consistency of the black is much thinner. As you can see, if I just pour it off the spoon, it just leaves a tiny little mound. And if I do the twirl, it stays there only 1-2 seconds, hardly any time at all. It's basically to coat the canvas, and I don't want lumps staying there and interfering too much with the rings. Okay, I'll just put these aside, and we'll get the canvas ready, or the cups ready. And then the canvas. Now I'm being brave today, and I'm using 5 cups just to see what happens if instead of using just like 1 or 2 cups of paint. So I'm doing 5 cups, and I'll spread them out over the canvas. And I'm curious to see what patterns we end up with in the end. Now I might start off with the dark colour in first, the copper, since that comes out last and is the centre of each of the rings. I'll just put a bit here. You don't have to do the same in each cup if you don't want to. I am today, but you can change it up and be a bit different if you like. And I'll put some silver. Now I'll just drizzle it down the side, and I'll make sure I pour it out from that side as well. It's nice and goopy. I find with really thin paints it just all mixes together and you don't really see your rings. And some of our gold. Let's pour it down the side. I'm a bit messy with my paint. You may be wondering why I wear the same thing every time I make a video. It's not that I've only got one set of clothes in my wardrobe. It's just that this set has quite a bit of paint on it. And rather than getting my whole wardrobe painted, I'd rather just have one set of clothes with paint on it. So they're my winter painting clothes. You'll see my summer painting clothes once the weather warms up a little bit. This copper is still a bit thinner than the others. I can feel it as I'm pouring it out. Just Montmartre don't make a copper, so I had to use a different brand. If you can get Eraldo, they're quite good. They've got lots and lots of colours in their range, especially metallics. They have heaps of those. I always get them when they're on sale. I get them from Riot Art, and they often have a 50% off sale, which makes a tub of Eraldo about $10 instead of $20. Which is pretty good value. I really hope this works today. Some gold. I probably have too much paint as usual, but it's better having too much than not enough. You'll probably see a few more ring pours down the track. I've got a few ideas in mind that I'd like to try. And while they're fresh in my brain, I may as well do them. I like to do one with metallic blue and silver. I think that would be nice. How are we going? What colour's next? Silver. I think of what colour I'd like next to the black. Probably the copper, I think. And then the gold. This will be the last layer. Ooh, not much copper left. I'll just do a little bit. Enough. Righto, that's that. Let's put these aside. A little bit of silver left, but yeah, that's okay. I'll keep that for another one. Right. Put these aside, ready to go. Now I need to coat my canvas with the black. This is the really messy bit. Hopefully you can see the whole canvas. It's a big one. All right. So I just drizzle the black over the canvas. I had some left over from another pour that I just mixed up with this lot. Lasts for ages. I'll just keep a dribble just in case I need to touch up the sides. And then I'll use my palette knife. Spread it out. A little bit of black goes a long way. So spread it out. And then I'll tilt it to get rid of some and to make sure it's all nice and level on the surface of my canvas, that I don't have any big bumps of paint anywhere. Okay. Right. Oh, I'm bound to get some on my clothes. Now, if your paint is too thick, it won't run. I'll just work it down to the end. I don't want a heap left on the canvas. Just run it down to this end. Don't worry too much about the sides, because you can touch them up later just with a finger with a bit of paint on it. Okay, I'll travel down this end. Sorry you can't see it, but I'm sure you can imagine what's happening here. You only want a thin layer of paint. Just lets the ring slide over it. Okay, down this end. I think I have just enough. It'll take a little bit to get down to this end. And move, move, move. Yes, it is moving. Here it comes. Come down to this corner. See if I can get down to that corner. There we go, on my clothes. Yuck. I knew that would happen. This black is almost like a mirror. Hey, almost there. Okay, I'll just touch up the sides. So you can just do that with a finger. I kept a bit of black just in case. I'll wait till the end though. So black you get everywhere. Bah. Now I'll just clean myself up a little bit and then we'll do the next step. Oh, I'm back. My hands are clean. Ended up putting on some new gloves because I got paint inside them. And my jumper is colourful. Anyway, we're back. And the next thing I'm going to do is just torch the black a little bit to get rid of any air bubbles. I mixed it up a couple of hours ago, but there's still a couple. Not nearly as much of an issue as if you're using the glue and water mix. Glue and water tends to have a lot more air bubble issues than Floetrol does. Okay, now I've got my 5 cups. I'm going to put 1 in the center and 4 around the outside and then stretch out. We'll see what happens. Ooh, here we go. The middle, I think it's about there. Okay, so I'm just doing my twirly shapes. And then I'm ready to catch the last little drip coming out. 1. Oh, the colours are nice together. Probably have too much paint again, but I'm pouring it out fairly quick. A bit of a dribble there. interested to see what we get. Three. I haven't done this many rings before. I'll be interested to see how it looks. So, ooh, it's going to be interesting. Put a torch, burst some bubbles. Let's see. Now you don't have to move it fast over the canvas. Just generally do a twirl just for the sake of twirling. Make sure it's all moving. Okay. I'm just going to go to this corner. And I'll just bring it over the edge. Then I'll bring it back. And I might go to the other corner. Just trying to keep an eye on what the other rings are doing. I do want to keep some negative space if I can. Okay. Bring things back to the middle. See, I might bring it down to move it across. Okay. Still have a lot of paint on the canvas. Now hopefully the black is preventing a lot of the paint from running over on itself and muddying it. back. Bring some off the bottom. I do need to lose some. Let's bring it all back up. If I can lose some of that black on the top. Okay. Just bring that back. Thinking about my composition, I like it to be a bit balanced looking. Okay, let's have a look at that. Well, that's really nice. The metallics don't really show up much while it's still wet. They come into their own when they're dry and they get really sparkly and nice. The rings too, I find, get more defined once you let it sit for a little while. Okay, I'll just give it a bit of a torch. Not much, just a bit. Popping the air bubbles. Should have really mixed them up yesterday and let them sit overnight. Okay, now I'm just going to run around the edge with my palette knife just to get rid of the drips. The drips look unsightly, as I've said before, but they can also pull the paint off the canvas, which you don't want happening. Rather keep your paint on the canvas than on the puppy piddle pad underneath. Fast forward through this bit. It's not terribly exciting, I know, but I do like to finish them off nice. So I said before, if you have a smaller canvas, just use fewer cups. You can even use just one single cup on a canvas, doesn't matter. Whatever end result you want. Looks a bit like wood grain, metallic wood grain. almost done. That's really, really awesome. It'll be nice when it's dry. It's the first time I've used the Montmartre Silver, so I'm interested to see what it looks like dry. The gold is lovely. I've used that before. I'll just take my gloves off and then I'll bring you in for a closer look. Now, I don't know if I've got the whole canvas in shot because I'm holding the camera above my head. Hopefully you can see that. But I'll just bring you in close and then we can have a look at the individual rings. You can see it's very delicate. I just think it's lovely. Now there were some air bubbles in the paint and that gives the speckledy look in some parts of the painting. If I would have left the paint sit a bit longer, there'd be fewer of those in my finished painting. Yes, but I think it's just lovely. Some very nice patterns. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I'm really pleased how this painting turned out, and I'm sure it'll be really beautiful when it dries and the metallic shine really comes into its own. Now, if you'd like to see the other multi ring pour that I did a little while ago, I'll put a link to that at the end of this video so you can have a look at how I did that one. In that one I used black and then I used red and gold, and it was stunning, really stunning, especially dry. Now, as usual, if you like what you see today, please press the like button. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please take a moment to subscribe. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to contact me and I'll answer them as best as I can. So happy painting, and we'll see you next time.